Let's look at some examples of converting between radian and degree measure. So let's remember that our important conversion factor is 2 pi radians is equal to 360 degrees. And that's the one to remember because you can always derive your conversion factors from there. So from this, I can see that 1 radian is equal to 180 over pi degrees. Or I can also see that 1 degree is going to be equal to pi over 180 radians. So these are the two conversion factors that we want to use. So how will we do that? Well, let's look at an example. What if we have 30 degrees and we want to convert that to radians? Sometimes it's helpful if you go ahead and you write this with the word degrees. And we need to multiply this. So if you're trying to figure out, well, do I multiply it by 180 over pi or pi over 180? You look at your units and you go, okay, I have degrees in my numerator here if I make this a fraction. So I need to multiply by by something that has degrees in the denominator so that the degrees will cancel out. So I need to multiply it by pi divided by 180, because you should recognize that the 180 is the degree part. So pi radians is equal to 180 degrees. And then hopefully you can see, oh, okay, well, I can cancel those degrees out, just the same as you would simplify the numerator and denominator of a fraction. And this leaves me with 30 pi over 180. And we just need to simplify this 30 divided by 180. And I know that I can simplify that to 3 pi over 18. You can divide each by 10. And you can simplify it again, and this pi over 6 radians. So 30 degrees is equivalent to pi over 6 radians. Here's another example. What if I have pi over 3 radians? Okay, what is that equivalent to in degrees? Okay, well, again, see that I have radians in the numerator. So if I'm going to think about, well, what am I going to multiply it by? 180 over pi or pi over 180. Then I would go, okay, I have radians in the numerator. I need radians in the denominator so that they will cancel out. So I would do 180 over pi and think, well, this is degrees and this is radians. And I would get that my radians cancel. And you can see that these pi will also cancel. And so I'm left with 180 divided by 3, which is 60 degrees. So 60 degrees is equivalent to pi over 3 radians. Okay, let's do another one. What if I have 45 degrees? And I need to, again, convert that to radians. Well, what am I going to multiply by? And if you want, you can write, instead of the little circle for the degree symbol, you could write the word degree. Sometimes it's easier to see the word degrees and how they're going to cancel. Well, I have degrees in my numerator, so I need degrees in the denominator. So I would use pi over 180 degrees. And then I can go, okay, well, those are going to cancel, and I'm going to be left with 45 times pi over 180. And then you just need to simplify your 45 over 180, and that actually simplifies to 45 is 1/4 of 180. So that's pi over 4 radians. Let's do one more. What if I have 150 degrees? If I need to simplify, I need to convert that to radians. Well, again, I have degrees in the numerator, so I need degrees in the denominator so that those units will cancel. So I would do pi over 180 degrees. Remember, this is my radians. This pi radians is equivalent to 180 degrees. So those degrees will now cancel. And I'm left with 150 pi over 180. This is now going to be in radians. And I just need to simplify this 150 over 180. You could take it step by step. And 15, and 18 are both divisible by 3. So that becomes 5 pi over 6 radians. And sometimes we write RAD as a short version of the word radians. Let's see, maybe one more. What if I have negative pi over 2? This is a good one. You can have a negative degree measure. Remember, it just means you're rotating in the opposite direction. Instead of rotating clockwise, you rotate, instead of rotating counterclockwise, you rotate clockwise. That's a negative measure. Okay, well, this is radians. I didn't write my radians. Let me write that. Times, well, okay, so I have radians in the numerator. I need them in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by something that has radians in the denominator. And so that would be pi and 180 degrees. So 180 over pi. So these radians will now cancel. The pi's are also going to cancel. So I'm left with negative 180 degrees over 2 is equal to, well, that's just negative 90 degrees.